to the message for today. But I want to thank. Okay, so getting on to today's message. And this message came to me during our trip. So there were times that, through the readings and devotionals that Michelle was reading and all that, there was a little bit about when God breaks you down and when God builds you up. So that got me to thinking. So I decided to do a short message on that. And the title of this message is God breaking you down or building you up? Teachings or messages about God building you up or breaking you down typically explore the idea that breaking is a necessary part of divine preparation. Rabbis emphasize that God sometimes breaks down the old, broken, or prideful parts of our lives to clear the foundation for a stronger, healthier spiritual breakthrough. Many messages focus on how God uses periods of crisis in and a word that I can't pronounce here. I got it. Hey, Bob, make sure you cut this out, okay, when you edit.
Just a few seconds before and after, so that pause.
Many messages focus on how God uses periods of crisis, isolation, or ruins, not for destruction, but for restoration. When you break down or tear down a classic car, it's not to tear it apart and do away with it. You're doing it to restore it back to what it was or even better. So the core message is that God breaks us open to remove pride, self-reverence, or bad habits so we can fall into His grace. Just like a severe home renovation requires breaking down old structures and cleaning up debris before the new build can start, God removes spiritual debris from our lives to build lasting character. Paul writes about the authority God gave him for edification and not for destruction. Teachers often use this to explain that God's discipline always points towards ultimate restoration. In the second book of Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 10, Paul writes, "For this season I write these things while I am absent, so that when I am present I need not proceed harshly, according to the authority which the Lord gave me for building up and not for tearing down." In the book of Joshua, chapter 6, the story of the fall of Jericho is taught as a lesson of God breaking down the literal and metaphorical walls in our lives that block us from receiving our blessings. In the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 10, "See, today I have appointed you over nations and over kingdoms to uproot and tear down, to destroy and to overthrow, to build and to plant." Many people believe God uses seasons of pain to strip away false pride, ego, or destructive habits. Though this perspective, brokenness is seen as a necessary pruning process, stripping away the old self to mold, strengthen, and build a more resilient foundation grounded in faith. Why does God tear you down? He wants us broken. Why? Because when we're in pieces, He has something to work with. God will break us to build us up, to build us and build us back up, but also does it to let light shine through. In the book of Jacob, or James, whichever you prefer, he says, "Stop it. Breaking others down by our speech and judgmental attitudes is one of the most serious sins mentioned in Scripture." Why? Because it demonstrates total disregard and contempt for God's highest command to love one another. You can find that in the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 18. Also in the book of James, chapter 2, verse 8. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21 says, "Death and life are in the control of the tongue. Those who indulge it will eat its fruit." Our words have the power to build people up and give them life, or tear them down and bring them death. The words we can speak inspire and encourage others, while in the same sentence deflate and discourage. Rabbi, that's a really awesome shirt you got on. Too bad it doesn't match with your boots. Right? I built them up and then I tore them down. All in the same sentence. That's not right. That's not what we should be doing. Oh, hush. The Lord uses the same language in Jeremiah 31, verse 27. It says, "Now, just as I have watched over them to uproot and to pull down, to overthrow, to destroy, and to bring disaster, then I will watch over them to build and to plant," Adonai says. What are the three keys to breaking through? Achieving a personal or professional breakthrough relies on three core fundamentals: mastering your state of well-being, your energy, and your mental fitness; reshaping your story, the narrative and beliefs that you hold; and executing the right strategy, the specific actions required to reach your goals. Does God break us to rebuild us? You see, God doesn't break us to hurt us. He breaks us to heal us.
Yes.
He breaks us open, okay? He breaks us open, not apart. He breaks us open. He lovingly removes what we cling to, which is fear, shame, doubt, pride, self-reliance, so that we can finally fall into his arms, empty and wide, to receive and hold his grace and blessings.
Amen.
What does uproot mean spiritually? Spiritually, to uproot means to completely extract negative habits, false beliefs, or generational traumas from your life so you can grow in alignment with your true purpose. It is a process of breaking down the old to make way for profound, lasting transformation. For divine and personal breakthrough, one of the most powerful and frequently referred verses is Isaiah chapter 43, verse 19. It says, "Here I am doing a new thing. Now it is springing up. Do you not know about it? I will surely make a way in the desert and rivers in the wasteland." Who do you say that to? Moses, maybe? Right? He set Moses out in the wasteland and into the desert for 40 years.
Yes.
And then because Moses made God angry, he wouldn't let Moses enter the promised land. He let him see it so that Moses knew that he got his people to the promised land. But he wouldn't let him go into it.
That's right.
Don't mess with God. He always wins.
That's true.
In closing, so when you ask if God is breaking you down or building you up, just remember that when God wanted to make David a king, he didn't give him a crown. He gave him a Goliath. When God wanted to raise Joseph to the palace, he didn't give him a shortcut. He gave him prison.
Amen.
When God wanted to make Esther a queen, he didn't give her comfort. He gave her a crisis. When God wanted to make Moses a leader, he didn't give him a stage. He gave him the wilderness. A lot of times when you feel like God's breaking you, he's actually building you up.
Yes. Right.
And the thing you got to understand is that God doesn't give us what you expect in life. He gives you what you need to become everything that he needs you to be to fulfill the calling on your life.
Amen.
The more you understand that, the more you'll understand God. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Amen.